Hope you like feet, everybody, because that's going to be the theme of today's video. We're going to look at how to take care of your feet and just loosen out any nasty spots you might have on the sole of your feet there. It was something that came up in a conversation with a couple of people at class this week about wearing flip-flops. I'm going to talk to you about why that may be quite bad, and also just how to just take care of your feet a little bit. Alright, so again, if you like what you're seeing, give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, do everything. Let's get started. Exercises now to really just take care of your feet. Starting to go with a funny accent here. Basically what we're going to be looking at is the arch of your foot here, and some of the muscles that are going to be helping work with that as well and attach into it. So the plantar fascia, which is the big piece of connective tissue down the bottom of the foot here, it sort of makes a triangle shape. So you've got the sole of your foot. It attaches at either side of the foot at the top here, and it comes down in like a triangle down towards your heel bone, your calcaneus there. This can get very, very sore, very tender, very knotted down and very tight. If anybody's ever had anything like plantar fasciitis, that kind of thing, this can be really quite nasty. So we're going to look at addressing sort of just releasing out some of that, taking the nastiness out of it by some slack into the system, as well as some muscles a bit further up. You can use a few different tools. I've got a few different balls here to be using. Tennis ball, which is obviously the most forgiving, it's got a bit of give to it. Lacrosse ball, if you've got one of these lying around, these are always handy. There's a tiny little bit of give in that, but it's quite solid, quite unforgiving. You might even have one of these, little foot roller, can work just as well too. They're quite nice. But my sort of weapon of choice with this, and it tends to be one that a lot of people have things lying around, is a golf ball. So what we're going to look at is standing you up first. Now what I want to try and do here is get the golf ball just underneath the ball of your foot on the outside edge. Alright, so we want to try and get a bit of pressure onto that. Now you can use as much or as little as you want to, because you may be surprised here, you may think, oh, this is absolutely horrific, and you're welcome. But basically what we're looking to try and do is get a bit of pressure on that ball and then roll towards the inner edge of the foot. We're keeping the heel on the ground. If I spin around, I'll show you what I'm doing. So basically we're just going from the outside, working our way in, and just basically rolling that and trying to find anywhere that feels a little bit tight. What we can do is gradually work our way down the foot. So starting just underneath the ball of the foot, but then we're gradually coming in and working our way further down through the foot. You might find around by the arch of the foot there is quite sore, quite knotted down. Again, just finding anywhere and just working our way through it, using that pressure, and you can stand on it. You could sit down and do this as well. But basically what we're going to do is do a couple of minutes of this one just to really free some of this up. We're going to mix it between this and another one. So once we've worked our way all the way down the foot, and again you might want to pause the video and just spend a bit more time on it if this is the first time you're doing it and you're thinking this is absolutely horrendous, then have a pie, treat yourself, why not, go for it. But again, I tend to do this quite regularly. I enjoy doing it. I'm a bit weird like that. Anything that helps release out nasty spots on me is always a good thing. But this does get particularly matted down, and I was speaking to people in class earlier this week about wearing flip-flops. They were saying, oh yeah, flip-flops are fine, aren't they? And it's like, the problem with flip-flops is okay, they're flat, but you're having to grip on. And when you're gripping on hard to something, trying to keep on your foot, this gets really overworked and gets very, very tight and really can cause you a lot of problems, especially if you're wearing them a lot. So I personally don't think flip-flops are a particularly good idea, or at least you shouldn't be wearing them all the time, you shouldn't be wearing them too much. But what we're whilst I just do that, we've just done that first release there. Now for the second half of this, I want to try and freestyle it a bit. So now we can just move around anywhere on the foot. Anywhere that feels a bit sore, I want you to stay on it, apply a bit of pressure, but then let's go toes down to the floor, and then toes up whilst keeping the pressure on. All right, so try and just raise up. That's quite nasty for me there, so just going up and down until you feel like it initiates a bit of change. It feels like it changes and gets a little bit easier. Once we've done that, once again, let's roll around. If you want to come down near the heel bone, you can certainly do that as well. And just go around and through there, because some of those areas around there as well can get quite sore and quite stiff. Anywhere that you can though, and you get a bit of pressure onto it, just go up and down with the toes and really stretch all of that out, okay? So those are our two movements that we're going to be doing. So obviously we're going to repeat that now on the other foot. So we'll go back to the original one for a minute. So again, on the outside edge of the foot, just underneath the ball of the foot, apply the pressure, rolling inwards. All right. Now again, you might find one foot is worse than the other. Who knows? Let's see. But yeah, just going back to footwear again, you know, yeah, flip-flops can be a bit of a nightmare. And also shoes with a big heel on as well. When we get into the next ones in just a minute, when we're talking about calves and further up the leg, if you've got shoes with a heel on them, even if it's only quite small, it can tighten the calf muscles. And again, if you're wearing those shoes a lot throughout the day, it can affect your posture and how you're moving, especially if you're doing it all the time. So I tend to be a fan of minimalist shoes. So I have a pair of Vibram Five Fingers. I know they're controversial. I didn't really sort of understand them at first, and I wasn't the biggest fan, but now I love them. I think they're probably my favourite shoes to wear. I love Vivo shoes as well, completely flat. Innovates as well, you'll see me wearing those quite a bit. You know, anything that's got a flat sole on it, I'm on board with, big fan. Alright, so again, let's then swap to the other one, freestyle it for me. So again, rolling around, find anywhere that's sore, so yeah, there's a bit there for me, so it's up and down with the toes, trying to keep the pressure on it, and just loosen all of that out. And you'll find that hopefully you'll then be able to walk around a little bit easier. This is a good thing to do, like if you get up out of bed in the morning, even before you start moving around, even if you just sat on the side of the bed, just do this for like say a minute or two on each foot, just before you even get going on with your day. Just get cracking with this, and this really helps your feet out. Because anytime you've got a problem with your feet, you've got a problem with your body, basically. Especially when you're looking at exercise and just moving around, just walking. If you do a lot of walking, you know, when you've got problems with your feet, you've got problems with the arches in your feet, especially if they collapse down, that's going to start having a chain effect further up the body. So with your ankles and up into your knees and your hips and everything. If your arch isn't supporting you, then that needs to be addressed. And this is a good thing to be doing, just to buy some slack, say to the bottom of the foot there, and just to free that up. Okay, so that's the first one. Now, what I then want to look at is what's called your posterior tibialis, which is a muscle that comes down the back of your shin. So you've got your shin bone on the inside of the leg here, but the muscle that runs down on the inside edge there goes around the back of the ankle and comes out and provides support to the arch here. If this all gets really, really stiff, this also can cause problems for the arch as well, because it can't really support your foot properly. Especially if you're doing any exercises, or even when you're walking. If you're walking around and you're doing this and your arch is collapsing in, there's going to be problems here, but also on the outside edge of the leg as well, which we'll get to. But a good way to get into this one now is to sit almost sort of like a half lotus position, like you're sort of crossing your legs over. Now again, you can use the ball of choice here. I tend to go with more of a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball for this particular one. But basically, just behind the shin bone, if you're able to see it, you've got the shin bone there, and then there's like the ridge that comes down and off. When you hit the muscular part, that's where we want to get to, and we want to press down into the leg, okay? So again, we're going to hit a minute of this one, just anywhere down the leg here. You could do a lot longer on this, to be honest with you, but I'm just doing it in terms of keeping it quite quick for you. But basically, we want to try and find anywhere on the back of the leg there that feels sore. When you do, here's the magic, circle the foot. So you want to stay on a spot that's sore and then try and loosen it, okay? And again, after a few revolutions of it, hopefully, again, this is probably the first time you're doing this, so hopefully, you'll be easing off quite quickly, but you may find it will take a while. Start working your way down the leg. You can use the back of the shin bone there as like the guide, as the ruler to roll your way down. But basically we want to try and get a good bit of pressure in there. You can control the pressure that you want, but you want to try and circle that foot and just get some movement in there. And this is buying slack to the whole thing so the muscle can work properly. It's not stiff, not tight. And we're just basically working our way gradually down. And again, this is something I tend to do quite regularly, so even though it is a little bit sore, it does tend to work off quite quickly for me. So as I'm just coming down to the end there now, there's a little bit there around where the Achilles is. And all of this is going to be important for the Achilles too. That's something else I should really mention about as well. Your Achilles tendon there. Having all of these muscles working properly and moving smoothly, this is really important for that. Alright, so we've done that one leg there, so then we'll switch it over to the other leg. Okay, so ankle just past the knee. Alright, again, just down behind the shin bone. Let's get a bit of pressure on that and circle round. Anywhere that feels a little bit stiff. Now again though, if you find that just getting into this position is actually quite tricky and it's not very easy, you could sit on a chair and just bring the leg over the top of the other leg like that. That might be a bit easier for you. We could do it that way. There are other sort of ways to do it, but they tend to be the easiest ones. This is also very good for ankle support and stability as well, because if the muscles are moving properly and they're loose and supple, then they're going to be working properly and they can provide that support. So we're just going to work our way gradually down, and you'll be thinking it's sort of like, oh, this is one of the more sort of horrific release videos that we've done, because there's some really tender spots in all these muscles here and all these parts of the lower leg here. Bits you probably didn't even realise, and hey, you're welcome. So, okay, so again, we've loosened all of that out there now and given that a little bit of slack to the whole system. So now that we've done that, I then want to use a foam roller. Again, it doesn't have to be a foam roller. I find this tends to be sort of the easiest thing to use for it. But what I'm going to attack now is going to be calves right down the back of the leg here, but also the outside, which is your peroneals. And the muscles on the sides here, they're the ones that stop your ankle from just rolling over like that. Getting just a good stretch like that and just holding your foot on the side can be good to stretch here, but what I find is that using the roller, especially with the calves and the back here, where the Achilles attaches into, this can be a real, again, magical moment. Again, you're just going to absolutely love it, I guarantee it. But what we're looking at here is we're going to do one leg at a time. We're going to start off just above the ankle. I'm going to put one leg on top of the other, like that. Now, so it's my lower leg that I'm working on here. Similar principle in that we want to use the roller here to get a bit of pressure on, and we're finding tight spots. So again, I'm just going to do a minute at the moment, but you might want to spend more time doing this. So we're going from side to the back and side to the back. You can do the inside as well, but we've already done that with the previous one. Anywhere that feels sore and tender, we want to circle on it and stay on that nasty spot. Alright? And again, on the outside, you might find some bits. Once that frees up, then we can start gradually working our way up. Now again, you might not have a foam roller lying around. I know a lot of people tend to have these lying around, they don't really know what to do with them. Or you'll see people in the gym or something like that where they're just rolling their leg out and doing this kind of thing. Don't be that person. That, may make a tiny momentary difference, but it's not going to really get into the muscle like we're trying to get into here. So you want to find a sore spot, stay on it and work that thing. So you want to try and circle around and just loosen all of that up. And again, depending on how tight you are, you could probably spend a good amount of time doing this. That's our 1 minute here, but I just want to work a little bit further up the leg, because there's two parts to the calf here now. There's the soleus, which is the bit that attaches into where the Achilles is, but you've also got the gastrocnemius, which is the big guns near the top of the lower leg there. So you may find that one part of this actually isn't that bad, and then you get to the next bit and you think, oh, this is absolutely horrific. Work through it, learn to love it, just embrace it, have fun with it, So basically you want to work all the way up to just behind the knee here, so just at the top of the lower leg, okay? Once we've finished on that side, then we're going to swap over. So we're going to do the same thing, get the timer on, and off we go with the next side. Now again, you may find that one side is a lot worse than the other, so you can gradually start bringing that up and circling it around. But this is all stuff that's going to help take pressure off of that Achilles. It's all stuff that's going to help just get the ankle moving properly, but yeah, arch of the foot there can be really worked into this as well. And we're going to do a little bit more in the next video about this as well. I'm going to look at how you can start loosening up through your shin and everything as well, because I had a request about exercises you can do for after walking, like if you go on walking holidays or you just go out for long walks over the weekend. We'll do a video on that next. I'm going to show you a bit more about the shin there, but also other parts of the legs and everything as well. So we'll do that in the next video. Bit of a spoiler alert there. But yeah, anywhere that's sore, and again, it may make you want to, cry tears of joy. This one. Try and stay on it. Circle round, loosen those knots up, and really try and stretch that fascia out. And really get that easing off. Because yeah, it can be nasty. So once you've been able to work your way up through the leg here and loosen all of that off, you can then totally relax out. And you may find that it feels quite different on your feet. You'll feel like, whoa, I feel loose and supple and ready to go and get much greater extension of my toes and everything. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant if you're feeling that. And again, spend more time on certain things. There might be ones there that you sort of think, actually, that bit's not bad for me, some of the other bits are nasty. So focus on what you feel is nasty on you. Sort those nasty feet out, have some lovely portrait perfect picture feet, and we'll look forward to catching you next week when we talk about walking. So we're going to work up a bit further up the chain next time. Have a jolly, see you next time. Take care everybody, thanks for watching.